Yes,
We
I've had
appreciate
both. I've had the pleasure of both.
you. Yeah, we appreciate you, President, moderator.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. The next item is items 2 and 3, closed session items. Madam City Clerk, are there any comments on closed session items?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, could you report on?
about how we can all have an impact on people through the city of Carson, through legislation and policymaking and research, so that we can work together to make the city of Carson a more sustainable and environmentally aware community.
Thank you, Ava. Elizabeth or Jasmine, Jennifer, Joanna, do either of you? I see Elizabeth on the, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I am in the Climate Action unit, and I'm really excited to hit the groundwork and really understand more about government work, and I'm really excited to just work with local communities as well, and the partnership, and really get to grow and meet incredible people like yourselves. Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Moreno. I'm really excited to just be involved with the community. Also doing research, just knowing what other cities do and then incorporate that possibly into our city. It's really amazing to like get another perspective on how they do things and then include that into our city, which is something I'm really excited. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Leslie, yes.
Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you, young lady.
I'm just really excited to be a part of this opportunity. I feel like this is one of the steps for not only myself, but I feel like for future generations to be influenced to do something like this. I feel like, especially because it has to do with like the community, I feel like it's just a big step into making a bigger change.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think with that really concludes the presentation. We just wanted to share this with the City Council. I know that there's been a big push to have more collaboration with the university, and this is just one more way that we're trying to do that.
Well, I want to thank both of you because that's the direction that I wanted us to go into when I was elected, and we're doing a great job. And these fellows, I'm just excited about them. So to Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, and to you also, Rita, thank you. And I was just in a meeting with your president, Dr. Parham. He's so awesome. So thank you. I look forward for more partnerships with the university. Anyone else?
I was just going to
I
say,
just want to say, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
MPT.
welcome aboard, everyone. It's exciting. This is what we've been wanting. We've been longing for in the city of Carson. How is it that we have a major university and we don't interact with them? We should be the tipping point for your careers in government, in relationship to building our community. So we appreciate you for being fellows. I'm a board member of the Dimely Institute, so we have fellows there as well. So we're just excited about the newfound partnership that's growing in a true town and gown community. So thank you. Hats off to this council. Hats off to the mayor of the city for leading us in the official signing of the town and gown. And always hats off to President Parham for making sure that Cal State Dominguez is not just the average university, but now is a major contender and a premier university. When it used to be the school of the second choice or the third choice or the fourth choice, now it's the school of the first choice. So I'm excited about it. Thank you guys so much.
Councilman Deere.
Yes, I want to ditto the MPT's comments there. This university is becoming a great American university. It's consistently and moving forward and doing what needs to be done. And I remember years ago we had Dr. James Lyons as the president. He had that vision, and I'm just so happy this vision is coming to a reality finally with Dr. Parham, and his staff together with the city of Carson, and bringing in the community is what it's all about. So having all the stakeholders involved in a vision that's really beneficial to everyone, and then working toward that vision you know, we just don't want to dream about it. We want to actually work on it. And this is what's happening right now. And Rita, congratulations on your new position with the city. And Xavier, thank you for partnering with Carson. And to all the interns, welcome. We're looking forward to great work from you. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot, and the city of Carson and all our residents at the university and beyond are going to benefit by your internships and your efforts that you're putting forward. You sound enthusiastic, and I know you're intelligent, because you wouldn't be a Cal State Dominguez if you weren't. And so I'm just really happy with what's going on and what's moving forward with the partnership between the city and the university. Thank you.
Councilman Hicks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To Rita and to Xavier, thank you for getting this together. To the city manager for letting this come into fruition, and to Rita for your new position. To the fellows, Toros for life. I want to say thank you guys for being a part of it. This is a special part in your educational career that you will keep forever. Relish every information you get from everyone that you talk to in this city, because you will use it sometime in the future. You don't know when, but you will use it. I was a fellow many, many years ago, and understanding that you are just starting the process to your educational growth. And I just want to say welcome to the city of Carson. To Dr. Parham, continue doing what you always do. When you left Irvine, I knew we got a jewel, and we got them here in the city of Carson. And to Madam Mayor, the town and gown, I've been saying it all along. No, all cities can boast, but very few can boast that they have a university in their city. City of Carson has its own university. So with that, thank you for being here, fellows, and I look forward to seeing you around the city.
Thank you. Councilwoman, any comments?
Yes. I've got the best. Being last is the best, because everyone has said everything great. So, right? Yeah. So thank you. Congratulations, Rita and Xavier and your team. Welcome to the city of Carson. Looking forward to collaborating with you. And again, thank you for all that you do. So thank you.
And thanks again, and welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here during your council meeting. And I know the university is very much looking forward to this continued partnership. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have all communications for matters listed on the agenda. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We did receive one item from an attorney regarding item number 24. It is an 8-page memo. I have highlighted the gist of it, because it is really just a request for them to be included in making sure that the agenda goes out to them specifically when we talk about items related to them.
Okay.
So if you're okay with it, I can just read a little bit of the intro just so you know what it is about.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just 3 minutes worth.
Okay, thank you. And as you know, we had a little power situation, so my timer's not working, but I'll be brief, Councilman. Honorable Mayor and council members.
Take your time, sweetie.
Thank you, MOC. On behalf of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, my office is submitting these comments for the City of Carson's October 18th, 2022 City Council meeting for the modification to subsequent draft revisions to the city's 6th cycle housing element as adopted by City Council on September 6, 2022. The Southwest Carpenters expressly reserves the right to supplement these comments at or prior to hearings on the project and at any later hearing or proceedings related to the project. And they listed the appropriate government code. And so again, they're asking that we communicate with them when the agenda items are released in advance, and we've added them to our MailChimp database. Okay. So that request has been granted.
Thank you.
And we have 2 people in the waiting room, Madam Mayor. So with your permission, I'll let them in and ask if they're here to speak on a specific agenda item. Caller ending in 1967, you've been added to the live meeting. Are you here to speak on a specific agenda item? Good evening, caller 1967. Are you there? Okay, we'll put them back and see. Oh, there they are.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Are you here to speak on a specific agenda item?
Yes, item 24, please.
Okay, you have 3 minutes. Let me get my phone. If you could state the nature of your call and your name, and I will begin the timer.
Okay, great. Okay,
Thank you.
my name is Stephen Donahue. My name is Stephen Donahue. I'm a member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I live, work, and recreate in the vicinity of the project. The city should require the project to pay prevailing wage and utilize apprenticeships from state-certified apprenticeship programs. Community benefits such as local hire can also be helpful to reduce our environmental impacts and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and provide localized economic benefits. Workforce policies have significant environmental benefits, giving they improve an area's job housing balance, decreasing the amount and length of job commute. Thank you for taking my comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. Okay, and there's one more, Madam Mayor. Good evening, caller ending in 7153. You've been added to the live meeting. Hello. Caller ending in 7153, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and which agenda item you're speaking to?
Item 24.
Okay, if you could just mute the noise in the background. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, somebody's on the line right now, so I'm gonna be next.
Actually, sir, you're on right now.
Hello.
Sir?
Hello.
Yes, you're in the
Yeah,
live meeting.
good evening. On item number 24.
Yes, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening. My name is Joseph Colblack. I'm a member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I live and work in the local area. The city should consider that this project requires the use of local hire and training from a California apprenticeship program to benefit the community's economic development and environment. Other cities have not hesitated to apply local hire and trained workforce requirements for private development projects in their city. I am a safety manager at a local refinery, and I believe using local hire, it can reduce greenhouse emissions and provide localized economic benefits. The project labor agreement at the local refinery has changed my life. I no longer must drive 2.5 hours a day going back and forth from Riverside to work. I was able to buy a home closer to my job. I now have more time to spend with my family. I believe the city has an opportunity to change a lot of lives and can build community wealth here in Carson. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Madam Mayor, there are 3 more in the waiting room.
That's fine.
Okay. Caller ending in 6231. You've been added to the live meeting. Caller ending in 6231. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, if you could silence the background noise, that would be helpful.
Build community wealth here in Carson.
What item are you here to speak for?
Item number 24.
Okay, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is Ray Lawson, Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I am here also to speak on item 24. Once again, we're talking about the 6th cycle housing element, and we of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, we represent 50,000 members in 6 states, including California.
and we take a strong interest in a well-ordered land use planning and in addressing environmental impacts with the development of projects. Individual members of the Southwest Carpenters live, work, and recreate in the city of Carson and the surrounding communities, and will be directly affected by the environmental impacts. So we believe that this project should have a local hire element, local hire provisions in it to cut down on gas emissions, fuel emissions caused by people having to travel from other counties, from other cities to work in the city of Carson. We believe that local residents should get the priority in building these houses. Once the cycle element is passed, we believe that they should have priority for local hires, and also consider hiring contractors that use apprentices from a state certified apprenticeship program and that have healthcare involved in it, included in it. So those are the things that we are looking for this housing element to pass in the future. If it does pass, that the city of Carson, that the city council members, the mayor consider that put those provisions in for the future to help the city of Carson, help the surrounding communities. We know we have a pollution problem in the city of Carson, but we feel that you put local hires and also give the young people a chance to get trained and be able to one day own a home in Carson. With all these homes that's being built, we know we have a housing shortage, but if we give these young people an opportunity to get training so they can one day make a livable wage and be able to take care of their families and also be able to buy some of these homes that they'll be building for the future. So thank you for your time, but this is what we believe that should go forth for the housing element. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Caller ending in 7016, you've been added to the live meeting. Good evening, caller 7016. Are you there?
Hello there. Sorry about that. Or can you hear me?
I sure can. You have 3 minutes.
Okay.
To speak. What item are you calling for?
Item number 25 about the mural or murals.
25 is a public hearing item, Madam Mayor. Item 25 is a public hearing, which we haven't opened yet. You're on mute, Madam Mayor.
Oh. So are you telling me I'm calling at the wrong time?
Just one moment, sir. Let me get clarification from the mayor.
He could speak now, or he could speak at the public hearing.
Yeah, that's been your policy. So the city.
Okay. Sir, you have 3 minutes to speak on item 25.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I just want to speak in favor of keeping the murals as they exist, and actually to suggest that Carson would benefit from more murals like this to help, beautify the city. So I'm just wanting y'all to not remove the murals, and just want to add, in all cases, not just this one, if anybody is on the council is getting paid campaign contributions and then acting on an issue such as this one, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. But anyway, keep that in mind at all times, please, and keep the murals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Keeping this train moving, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, caller ending in 3740. You've been added to the live meeting.
On the council.
Hello there.
Hello.
Please mute your background device.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you so much. What item are you calling for?
Number 25, please.
Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes, please. If you could state your name.
Okay, start now.
Yes, right. Pushing start now.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Valdez. I want to speak on item number 25. Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, and City staff. I'd like to address item number 25, removing this mural located at 21126 South Avalon Boulevard would not be good for Carson. This is a beautiful mural next to the 405 freeway where hundreds of thousands of people drive by and see this throughout the year. This mural beautifies Carson. We have a diverse cultural city with an array of food restaurants, multi-diverse organizations, big business, and small mom and pop stores. The design of this mural can only add to the beautiful city. Our own city council members have implemented to have graphic arts on the near and the areas of new buildings. Why would anybody say our council members do not want this mural? Just recently, Andrew Carnegie Middle School painted some murals on their own school campus. It's sad enough that music classes were taken away and half of the schools do not have art classes because they say there's no money. Let our children see this mural so just as they see their own at Carnegie Medical School. I ask you, council members, are you going to take away from our children what is beautiful? And if so, for what? Thank you always, Daniel Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Okay. Caller ending in 9858. You've been added to the live meeting. Good evening, caller ending in 9858. Are you there? 9858. You've been added to the live meeting.
Yes, my name is Eon Moss. I'm a
Good evening,
local
sir.
member
Well,
of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You have 3 minutes. If you could mute your background
Yes, I'm
device.
here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can also hear myself in the background. If you could just mute your device.
It's muted now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Fantastic. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Eon Moss. I'm a member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, and I just really want to ask you guys and encourage the council members tonight to really consider giving this job to us, making this job a PLA job, you know, a prevailing wage job. You know, with times being as hard as they are nowadays, people need to make a good living. And Carson ain't cheap. Y'all know Carson ain't cheap. You gotta make some money to live in Carson. So, you know, I live and work in the local area. I want to work in the local area. I love to build Carson up. So I really would think this would be a great deal for us to get this work locally. It would be great for us. It'll be great for the community, and it's just great for the local environment. Period. You know, people love to work in their community and build their own community up. Carson is a beautiful city, and I love to add to it, but making a prevailing wage while doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have made it to the end, Madam Mayor.
That's it.
One more. Caller ending in 7836. You have been added to the live meeting. Caller 7836, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Can you state
Hi,
the
hello, my name
item
is
that you're
Roberto
speaking?
Ruiz.
Go ahead.
I want to speak on agenda item number 24.
Okay, you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Roberto Ruiz. I am also a member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. The city should require the project to be built with contractors that will hire locally, pay prevailing wage, and utilize apprentices from a state certified apprenticeship program. I'm actually I started my career with the Carpenters as because of a PLA agreement. It actually gave me the opportunity. I went to college for 2 years, and college wasn't for me. It gave me the opportunity to be able to have a livable wage. I actually purchased a home, finally got out of my mom's house, believe it or not. I was able to afford it because of the opportunity I got with the PLA agreement. I think if you utilize local hire, not only will they build it on time, under budget. If you use a state-approved apprenticeship program, you get people that are trained and they're certified. They have a state certificate that says that they are certified by a state apprenticeship program. I'm telling you from personal experience, it feels a lot better to be able to build close to home for something that you could share with your family for years to come. So I think you should move forward with putting some of this verbiage in your agreement for this, because not only are you going to get something built right, you're going to get it built with pride. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ruiz. Okay, Madam Mayor, that concludes our waiting room for public comments for agenda items.
Well, thank you, Madam City Clerk. Let's see. We are now on approval of the minutes, item number 6 for August 2nd. City Council, successor agency, can I entertain a motion?
Move approval, Madam. Or second it. MPT got it all seconded.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Item number 7 through 24 is consent. I'm going to pull item number 24. Is that the one we were pulling? The housing? Yes. And I'd like to move for approval of the consent calendar with the exception of item number 24.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull item 19, please.
19, dear.
Perfect.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, item number 22.
22 Hicks. Approval. It's been moved and properly second to move all items on the consent calendar except items 19, 22, and 24. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm going to move to item number 24, the housing element. MPT?
Yes, reluctantly, we as a council, at the direction of our staff, we have to approve this tonight, almost kind of with a gun to our head, if you will. This HCD, they are proposing they will not approve our housing element, and we cannot move forward with our general plan. But I want to put on the record that what they are proposing to do is redline communities. I want to put on the record that this is race baiting. I also want to put on the record that they are targeting African American communities as well as Latino communities. The places that they're proposing to break up for housing is predominantly in the Black community. I want to know what cities such as Manhattan Beach, Palos Verdes, Beverly Hills are doing in regards to this. It will not be easy to take $4 million plots of land to break up and make them one apartment complex with, but it will be easier in communities of color, particularly Black communities, particularly brown communities. We want to know that. I know that we almost have like a gun to our head to approve this tonight. So we have to approve it in order to get our housing element. But we want to know what other cities are doing, if other cities are fighting back. This is redlining. It's what it is. And we are aware. We're aware of it. I mean, tonight our hands are pretty much tied, but we want to know what other cities are doing. So reluctantly, if my council doesn't want to say anything reluctantly, I have to make a request to consider ratifying the director's approval of modification to the subsequent draft revision to the city's 6th cycle housing element as adopted by the city council on September 6, 2022, GPAC number 2201.
I'll second it. It's been moved and properly second. MPT, I want to say that I did all your comments. We need to know that the area that they're talking about along these uh, apartment buildings is in Del Amo Highlands, one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the city of Carson. Uh, Longtime residents have been there. We're hearing all the time of what's going on in LA about the racial comments that have been made. And now here we are, again, being slapped and saying, you know, you want to tear up a community, a solid community. Not that you're putting it in any low income, you're not putting it in. I want to ditto what you said about find out what other cities are doing. It's easier to assemble 3 houses in Carson that's $1 million as opposed to going to Beverly Hills and Palos Verdes where they're selling for $3, $6, $10 million. So I echo your comments, and I'm just, my heart is broken, but I want to let the residents know that we are approving this reluctantly, because if we don't approve it, that will give any developer the right to come in here and do whatever he or they want to do. So we are looking at alternatives here, and it's been moved and properly second. Are there any more comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor, under discussion of the motion, I also ditto MPT Councilman Juwan Hilton's comments. You know, this is a beautiful neighborhood, and to think that the state is not considering that. It's an established traditional neighborhood, longtime residents, and they want to cause an upheaval unnecessarily and inappropriately. Certainly we need more housing. There are better ways to go about it than this. So I agree with MPT, Juwan Hilton.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I also did on Mayor Pro Tem. It's ironic that they target a cohesive, well-established African-American neighborhood in regards to this plight. I understand the need, but I don't see how can you take a neighborhood and break it up when it's already in place and is doing quite well. It again shows, based upon what happened in LA, how you have to be on point all the time to know what's being done behind doors in regards to your own home. So again, reluctantly, we have to go through this process. But again, I ditto and echo the sentiments of Mayor Pro Tem. So again, tearing up a cohesive and established neighborhood is something that should not be part of the plan.
Councilwoman, any comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for being the voice of the people, loud and proud. And thank you to the city of Carson. Stand together. Thank you.
Yeah, and before we take the final vote, I just want to point out, the definition of gerrymandering is to manipulate the boundaries to favor one party or class. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to tear up a community and to put a class of take a class of community, an affluent part of Carson on the north side as well as the south side. They're trying to take affluent areas in our city and break them up and to put a housing element. Now, some would probably quote in the paper that we're saying NIMBY, not in our backyard. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that you cannot target a community, a particular community full of Black people, full of African-American people, on the other side, in the south side, full of Latino people, Filipino people, brown people. You can't take those communities and tear them up. Single family homes, some of the highest incomes in the north. You cannot take those communities and tear them up and drop apartment buildings right in the middle of communities. And this is what the state is trying to tell us that we have to do. And we're reluctantly approving this tonight. We just couldn't go forward with our housing element. We're putting this in place as a safety mechanism to help ourselves tonight.
Thank you. All in favor signify reluctantly by saying a reluctant aye.
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 Aye. That's it.
That's a
That's a
it's sickening. But anyway, item number 19, Councilman Deere.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I pulled off item 19 because I want to clarify some things on that. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to put my reading glasses on this. You have some notes here on item 19. Yeah, this is to consider approval of amendment number 4 to the agreement with West Coast Arborists Incorporated for tree maintenance services. The recommendation of staff is to approve amendment number 4 to the agreement for contract services by and between the City of Carson and West Coast Arborists Incorporated to increase the contract sum by $199,000 exactly for one additional month to provide tree maintenance services, such that the total cost of the contract agreement does not exceed $2,901,792.12. So I'd like to add, first of all, before I continue my comments, a brief staff report on this.
Thank you, Councilman Deere. We'll have our Assistant City Manager, John Raymond, provide a brief update and then be able to provide some clarification if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. The item before the City Council is, as the councilman stated, it's an amendment for an additional month. The staff is in the middle right now of preparing an RFP to put the service out for bid, and we would be back I think in January, December or January with the bids and with the contract. And so in order to give a little time and not have any lapse in service, they've asked for the additional 1 month extension on the contract.
Are you complete, Mr. Raymond?
Yeah.
Okay, through the mayor, I want to make a motion to approve amendment number 4 to the agreement for contract services by and between the City of Carson and West Coast Arborists Incorporated to increase the contract sum by $199,000 exactly for one additional month to provide tree maintenance services, such that the total cost of the contract agreement does not exceed $2,901,792.12. And authorize the mayor to execute the amendment after approval as performed by the city attorney. So that's my motion, but I also want to, if there is a second, Madam Mayor?
Second.
Okay, and there's a second. So on discussion of the motion, the staff mentions an RFP, and that's what caught my attention. This approval tonight does not automatically trigger an RFP, but it's an option of the staff. Is that correct? Could I have a clarification through the city manager and his staff?
You mean, yeah, we're not asking the city council to authorize an RFP.
Yeah, that was my question, yeah. Okay, so the action tonight is just to extend the contract for a month because that's necessary for work to continue.
Right.
Is that right? Okay, and there is a restriction on going over a certain amount. That's why we're extending it only 1 month and not like 3 months or something like that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so I want to discuss a little bit about this amendment and the consequences. Certainly, it makes sense with staff's recommendation to extend it a month. What would not make too much sense would be to switch companies since we went through this, well, I guess maybe a year ago or so. Yeah, and if I bring to the attention to the staff and my colleagues on the city council and the general public that when we had this discussion in the past, there was an RFP out, and we ended up going with the company that remained by extending the contract. And I want to remind people that in the RFP, the proposals that came back were over $100 a tree. I think $102 in one case, $104 in another case, etc. But by keeping the company we had, they were about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Raymond, about $94 or $93 per tree in comparison. Is that correct?
I think I don't recall the exact number, but I think it was something like that.
Yeah, so we actually saved money, saved the taxpayers' money, which is what I'm all about, to extend the contract that existed. So an RFP coming out in January would only make sense if, one, either we have to do it by law or regulation, or the second reason would be that we can get a lower price. And with inflation, it's very unlikely that a lower price would be realized by the city under the circumstances of the economy today. And I want to add to that the company, I've done some research, the company, what is the name of the company? West Coast Arborists Incorporated. They are a union company, and Carson is a union town. They are a firm that has a large number of employees, and from what I can understand, they're very capable of meeting the requirements of this city council that all the trees in the city of Carson be addressed in a professional manner by an arborist company like this. And if it needs to be trimmed, it's trimmed. If other things need to be done for the trees, or that, I know this is a general statement, but to the point, if other things need to be done, they're capable of doing that. So I'd like to know from the city attorney whether an RFP in January is necessary. If it is, let's go ahead and do it. If not, let's address it in January. So the city attorney answer that, or maybe Mr. Raymond, you could answer it if you have the answer.
Well,
kind of a legal question.
I'll ask the city attorney to answer the legal question, but after she answers that, I want to just come back and point out something that was included in the last paragraph and give a little context on the RFP. So
sure,
if you want to get the legal question answered first, you can.
Or either way, whatever you prefer. You could be first or second.
So one of the things that we wanted to do with the RFP, you recall the process last year where we went through the RFP. There was another bidder, and I think initially, staff had recommended the other bidder, and there was an irregularity, I think, with the contract, and in the end, the council gave direction to kind of rebid that work. At the same time, we amended the contract with West Coast Arborists to extend them for another, I believe it was another year.
Their existing contract, right?
The existing contract. But because we had bid out the other work, which was the basic grid trimming, the contract with WCA was really for kind of supplemental and emergency services and things like that. So they haven't been operating this year in a contract that's the standard kind of regular grid trimming contract. And so what we wanted to do is kind of reset that and get back to kind of the regular work. In addition to that, there were a couple of things that the council asked for at the time, a year ago. I think it was Councilman Hicks that wanted kind of the 1 year of just every tree trimmed in the 1 year so that you have a baseline. Because a lot of trees, there's a number of trees in the city that have gone a long time without trimming, and other trees have had more regular trimming. And so part of what directed the staff to do, including the RFP, is kind of that baseline, just a good trim across the city, which means that the first year might be more than what it would be in subsequent years, right? It's everybody gets a haircut in the first year, and then we go on a schedule. And then the third thing is that not every tree species is trimmed on the same schedule. And it was part of the effort of staff over the last couple of years to try to, well, they've been working on the kind of urban forestry plan and the tree maintenance plan that really kind of ties the ultimate trimming schedule to really what the requirement of the species is. And in Carson, the city has in its inventory 208 different species. Now, it doesn't mean that there's 208 different trimming schedules, but it means that there's a variety of trimming schedules. So a part of the effort in putting the contract out there and rebidding the contract is to incorporate some of these things that were very high priorities for council when we talked about this a year ago, that really, because of kind of where the contract ended up and how we've been operating over the last year, we have not been able to really accommodate what the council had asked for, actually quite specifically in the meeting a year ago. So that's part of the basis for, wanting to kind of reset and get it out there. And with that, I'll turn it over to the city attorney to talk about
Mr. Raymond, before we go to the city attorney, I want to address a comment you made. I mean, the council members were not horticulturists. I took a class in school years ago, but I mean, I have a basic idea. I like gardening. I like plants. I know that I have some rose bushes in my front yard, and they should be trimmed in January and February. And that's when they should be trimmed every year, not other months. And as you mentioned, over 200, like you said, 208 species of trees. They have different requirements. That's why we have a professional arborist company under contract to do this work. And we also have Greg McDonald, who's an expert in trees as well. He does a fantastic job, and he's on staff with the city. So I can imagine we could, we meaning the staff, could certainly outline the proper schedule for each species. And that could be complicated, but doable. But having said that, I want to point out something that I recall, and please correct me if I'm wrong. When we approved this agreement with WCA Incorporated, it seemed like, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that we were agreeing to a 3 or 4 year agreement with them. Like we agreed, we went ahead with the first year with 1 year extensions, not 1 month extension, but 1 year extensions, and maybe extended like the second year, and then extended another year, all in the agreement. Is that correct? First of all, before I go any talk any further about it. And that may be a legal question, or
Well,
John Raymond's question.
It's actually in the staff report. So in October 2018, the council awarded WCA the 3-year contract with 3 optional 1-year extensions at your election.
Okay, if that's the case, why are we not utilizing that? And maybe that's a legal question, I don't know, but I'd like to know the answer.
So my understanding from the staff report and is that in 2018, it was awarded with the 1-year extension. That means through December 2022, there's no more extensions after that. And my understanding is that's why the city staff is asking for 1 month additional, so then they can have time to issue an RFP.
Okay, so the 3 years have gone by already.
Yes.
So.
Or they will by December.
So let's clarify this. So we agreed to it for 1 year with 3 1-year extensions, or we agreed to it for 1 year with 2 one-year extensions, or is it possible we agreed to just simply 3 years? Can you check the 2018 direction by the city council?
It's in the report. It says with 3 optional 1-year extensions at the city's sole I should have said discretion. That's in paragraph 1 on the background.
Would that mean like the first year was agreement 1, or after the first year it's 3 one-year extensions? Because to me, an extension would be, well, I mean, it could be interpreted either way. So,
yeah.
Mr. Raymond, does that mean the 3 one-year extensions are completed, and that's why we're going for a 1 month extension?
That's
what page?
Well, I mean, so January.
Where are you reading
January
that?
8th, 2018 was January 8th. January was when the contract was awarded in 2018. So from 2018 to 2019, that's 1 year. Then there's 3 extensions. That's how I'm interpreting it. So then that's 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022. So it's a 1-year contract with 3 extensions, but at the end of this year, the 3rd extension is exercised and expires.
So January would be, of course, basically 4 years
exactly.
From 2018.
Exactly.
Okay, that was my question, and I appreciate the clarification.
Okay. Any more conversation?
I did have one question, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
In regards to the new RFP that went out, and maybe I'm wrong, to staff, when they put in the 1,440 trees, we had some issues with a lot of those trees dying. So I don't know what provisions are going to be placed in if we're having additional trees being planted. And were any of those trees replaced that were damaged from before? Because I know there was some discussion that we had a lot of trees that were nicely planted, and then within the last 4 months with them being planted, they were dead trees. So
that's supposed to be, council member, that's supposed to be part of the scope of services from the RFP, is to assist in the replacement of some of those trees that were damaged. If I believe correctly, is that correct?
I believe, yeah, I believe that's true.
And who was on the hook for replacing the ones that were dead already, which Councilman Deere talked about the $94 per tree? Because we still have some trees that have been placed in tree wells that are dead.
Go ahead, JR.
Well, we have trees that are dead that were planted as part of the Carson Street project 6 years ago. And I think we have trees that have died that were part of the 1,440 that you mentioned.
Yeah.
There's a warranty, and I think any tree that died during the warranty period, and I apologize, I don't recall what the warranty period on the tree is, but they would be replaced if they were still warranted. But if not, then it just goes back in the inventory of trees to be replaced.
Well, since we have them, if this passes, for them to be till January of 2023, and there's a warranty, I would request for that company to go back and look at the trees and making sure that we had all the trees that did die under their control replaced.
Okay.
MPG.
Yeah, I have some questions. Is it true that it was a 3-year contract, but they were entitled to get another 3-year extension?
No.
It was a 1-year contract, and they could get 3 1-year extensions, and they got all of those. That's what I went over with Councilman Deere, where we counted the days.
I almost thought, because the last time that we were doing this, and the reason why it's really close on my mind is because the gentleman who they had went the RFP out, he came up publicly, we were in chambers, and he came up publicly and talked about the relationship he had with the person who worked here and how they worked as arborists together. You remember that? Do y'all remember that?
With the other company?
Yeah, with the other company. He got up there, and I remember it was a 3-year extension at that time. Maybe we should give the extension tonight, but I would like to bring this back for you guys to investigate. Have all the extensions have been given? Just particularly because if we go out to bid for someone else or go out to bid at the moment with inflation being so high, these prices are locked in. We're gonna get hit with higher prices. Is my thought.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I agree with the MPT, Jawan Hilton. My memory also was that when we went out with RFP, the other company, I think it was Great Scott, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the company. And we were talking about awarding a 3-year contract to a company. I don't remember us awarding a 1-year contract with extensions. I remember us awarding a 3-year contract with 3 1-year optional extensions. So, Madam Mayor, could we can approve this basic 1-month
Yes.
extension, but can we
That's
bring
what
it back?
I'm going to ask that we approve with the 1 year and to bring it back for more clarification. Then also.
So we don't need to bring it back. I mean, I don't have the contract in front of me, but I know that Robert Lee drafted the amendment to the contract. We didn't work on the staff report, but the amendment should be accurate. Recital F, it says the agreement is for 3 years from October 1, 2018 through September 3, 2021, and provides the city with 3 1-year options to extend at the city's election.
And on what page? This is in this.
This is
Page
in
4?
the amendment. I haven't, so maybe we do need to bring it back because I haven't looked at the original contract myself, but the recitals of the amendment are different than the staff report. So I don't know which one is accurate.
Right. So, Madam Mayor, if I could address the city attorney, please. So if I'm looking at recital F, and I'm just going to read what you just read, the agreement term is for 3 years, from October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2021. And then after 2021, the city provides for optional 3 1-year agreements. So that would bring it to, obviously, the way you do it on your hand, from 2020, September 2021 to 2022 to 2023 to September 2024 before we have to address this again.
That's correct. So this is JR, Mr. Raymond, do you have a copy of the original contract handy to verify if the staff report is accurate or if the amendment recital?
Give me just a minute, I'll pull it up.
Well,
Madam Mayor,
yes.
Mr. Patrick Mahoney has his hand up. I don't know if you want to acknowledge him. He's been.
Who is
reading.
Patrick?
He's with the tree company.
Okay. We're out of all communication, so I really want to find out from.
We are. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, we're out of all communication. I want to acknowledge what the city attorney is saying. And if we need to bring this back, let's bring it back, but give him his 1 month. But if it's wrong, it's wrong. So
I agree, Madam Mayor, you're correct.
So while we're waiting for them to find that, why don't we go to item, Councilman Hicks, item number 22 and come back to this. Give staff the opportunity to find out the correct answer. And if not, we'll move forward with the extension and bring it back for further clarification at our next council meeting.
Madam Mayor, you don't think we should just close this one out? Because even if he finds the contract, the public should be able to look at this contract as well. It should be on the agenda. I mean, I
Whatever
don't know.
the pleasure of the council is. So we'll approve the 1 year, the 30 days, and bring back the contract at the next meeting.
I second that motion.
Yeah, there's a motion and a second on the floor already.
Already? Well,
Yes,
yeah, we approved it. Well, clean it up again.
it's been moved by Councilman Deere and it's been seconded by Councilman Hicks.
Okay. And all in favor signify by saying aye, with the caveat that we'll bring back a cleaned up version at our next council meeting.
Well, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I think the wording would be bring back the issue of the recital to see if the recital is, or the staff report
Is
is
it accurate
correct.
or not? Okay, fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we don't need to come back to that one. We will bring it back at the next council meeting. Item number 22, Councilman Hicks.
You're on mute, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Wanted to get a staff report on this item.
The bridge repair, all right.
No, Caltrans.
No, Caltrans, state. route
Caltrans.
7.
Oh, I'm on the wrong one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am.
22. Thank you, Councilman Hicks. Assistant City Manager John Raymond will provide a brief update for you all.
So as the council's aware, the city's had an interest for a very, very long time in seeing Alameda Street, which is part of the Alameda corridor, become part of the state highway system. There's actually signs on it that say SR 47, and it's part of the State Route 47 alignment. But in 1982, when the legislation went into effect, creating the Alameda corridor, the section in Carson was actually by legislation excluded from the state highway. So we have made a number of efforts over the last 5 or 6 years to try to get Caltrans and the state of California to take our complaints seriously. And the reason for it is because it is a heavy truck route. It takes a lot of use and abuse by trucks, and it's a relatively expensive street to maintain. We've always wanted the state to pay for the maintenance of Alameda. So with the supply chain crisis a year ago, when the ports were desperate for cooperation from communities close to the ports like Carson, and they involved the White House and the governor's office, it was a very good opportunity to say, you know what we really want? We want State Route 47 to become part of Caltrans. So Caltrans agreed, and we've been working with Caltrans since about a year ago, actually on an MOU to take the state Alameda into the state highway system. And the way the process is that they actually have to put a package together and submit it to the California Transportation Commission, and they're the ones that make the determination that that it would become part of the state highway system. And it's not built to the state highway spec. It wasn't built by the state. It wasn't built by the city, for that matter. And there's a lot of work that they're going to have to do to work with the CTC to get the CTC to approve. But they're in that process right now and doing it. So we wanted, the city wanted the state to maintain Alameda during the period from like today or from a year ago to when it becomes part of the state highway system, when they become fully responsible. And initially Caltrans was okay with that. And we traded sets of agreements. They have an agreement they have a maintenance agreement, but in the end, it was determined that they're unable to use state highway money to maintain a street that today is not in the state highway system. But they do have a fund, or they do have funds that are available to actually pay for the kind of reconstruction and the improvement of the street that's not in the state highway system. And they offered to do that, and that's what this MOU does. It kind of spells out, the process of the city and Caltrans working together on the package to go to the CTC for the application for the street to become part of the state highway system, and that Caltrans would agree to very soon after we execute the MOU, that they would start the process of actually bidding out the repaving, essentially, of Alameda in the city of Carson. And we would still be responsible for the maintenance, but the maintenance on a brand new street is significantly less than the maintenance of a street that hasn't been paved in a very long time. And so we've negotiated this agreement. I reference it in the staff report. There's one small issue, I think, on the effective date that's hanging a little bit, but even if Caltrans has wanted the effective date to become the date, I think it was like the date of the construction, and we want the effective date to be the date of whenever it's executed. And but even if they don't budge on that, that's not a significant enough. It's written with our position as the effective date is like the date of execution. So even if we have to change that, Robert Koo is the attorney who's been working on this, would make the change, and it's not a significant enough change that we'd have to bring it back for reapproval. So we're pretty comfortable with this, and we're recommending that the council approve it, and we would work with Caltrans both on the timing of the process and whatever information they need for the construction of the street, and then continue to work with them on the package, the application package of the CTC for the designation of Alameda as SR 47. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I started working with Caltrans on this almost a year ago, and I want to thank JR, you and Eliza, Jane, we finally got there. So it's been a long, tough year, but when I had the opportunity to meet with the representative from the president's office, he assured me that he was going to make this happen. And JR, we need to send him out a little thank you note also. But thank you guys for all your hard work in making this come a reality.
Yes, definitely. Madam Mayor, and to the staff, thank you, Gerald, for that report. There are some issues that wanted to be brought up in regards to this issue regarding the truck traffic that's going to be now on the proposed state highway. One being to take Santa Fe and take it off of the truck route in that area, because it's by the residential neighborhood and the elementary, middle school, and high school, and divert all that truck traffic now to the Alameda Highway being proposed. The second part of it is, once it's been established, to actually make sure it's maintained for no overnight parking of trucks and for trailers on that location, because it still butts up to the neighborhood of Lincoln Village and President's Tract. So those are the concerns that the residents have had in regards to having the Alameda corridor made into a highway, but to move that truck route off of Santa Fe and move all of that truck traffic over to Alameda Street.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get that in place, Madam Mayor, and that my colleagues, once it goes through the process, that whatever process we have to go to bring it back the earliest council meeting, but approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Carson and the California Department of Transportation regarding Alameda Street SR 47, authorize the mayor to execute the document in the form acceptable to the city attorney.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Item number 25 is a public hearing to consider the appeal of Planning Commission Resolution number 222836, conditionally approving in part and disapproving in part an application for two existing murals at 21126 South Avalon Boulevard in the city of Carson. Madam City Clerk, was this properly posted?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have the notice of applications that were sent via email that was confirmed by our staff. The posting requirements were met for individuals and organizations. The posting affidavits are here in the city clerk's office on file, and we received 3 written communications about it, one of which is somewhat canceled out because the individual called in and spoke already.
Okay. Staff presentation, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For the presentation, we'll have our Community Development Director, Saeed Nasseh.
Great, thank you, Mr. City Manager, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, I'm presenting the appeal of the Planning Commission decision on 2 murals that were installed on 21140 South Avalon Boulevard. This appeal was filed by Councilmember Jim Deere, appealing Planning Commission's decision. There were 2 murals. One mural, mural number 1, faces Avalon. Mural number 2 faces the freeway and the on-ramp. Mural number 2 is what I refer to as phone help mural, and mural number 1 is the FAB mural. This is the FAB mural that faces Avalon. It's a colorful mural with the sign, with the name of the business basically acting as a sign in the middle of the mural. This is mural number 2, the help phone mural that's been placed by an artist without the permission of the property owner or the business owner. Planning Commission approved mural number 1, the FAB mural, with the condition that the FAB Cars logo to be removed. The Carson Municipal Code does not allow painted signs to be in this zoning district, and the FAB Cars logo is considered a sign. The Planning Commission also disapproved mural number 2, the help phone mural, and found it to be a graffiti, a public nuisance that's subject to abatement and removal as set forth in the municipal code. We've included a series of recommendations for council in the staff report. I'll go through those, and there are a total of 5 recommendations, I think. The first recommendation, 2A, is affirming Planning Commission's decision, and this recommendation would uphold the Planning Commission's decision to approve mural number 1, which is the FAB mural, and removing the FAB logo, and also disapproving the mural number 2. The council could include additional conditions of approval or make other relatively minor changes to the approval, but this would constitute a modification, which we'll talk about in the next recommendation. This recommendation 2B is modify Planning Commission's decision approving mural number 1 and also approving mural number 2. There is a resolution included in the packet for council to consider if that's the recommendation the council would like to go. Also, I'd like to include the first recommendation, affirming Planning Commission's decision. Also, there's a resolution included in the packet, so council could act on that recommendation as well. Recommendation 2C is directing staff to bring back another proposed resolution other than the one that we just discussed in recommendation 2B, modifying the Planning Commission decision in accordance with council direction provided during the appeal hearing process. This recommendation 2D, the council would choose to refer the item back to Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission would reconsider council's recommendation, and we would ask that council provide specific direction to staff and the Planning Commission with this recommendation. Option or recommendation 2E is reversing the Planning Commission decision. And we don't have a resolution for before the council for this recommendation because staff is not sure what reasons the council would use and what findings would be necessary in the resolution to reverse Planning Commission's decision. That concludes staff's report, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, Councilmember, any questions? Not debate, just questions to staff?
I have a question.
Okay.
Could you go to the slide, Saeed, that shows the mural of the man and the telephone? That one, that's it. Okay, so that that is on a wall that previously had Porter Auctions painted on the wall. But I don't think that Porter Auctions was ever told to take that sign down that's painted on the wall, even though we have an ordinance that says you can't paint it on the wall. So could you address that question first, and then I have a second question. I see it is white paint's put over it, but that was only put over it when the new tenant moved in.
If that was a painted sign, it could be a painted sign, or it could be a outline of a previous sign. I don't recall exactly what it was, but if it was a painted sign, they received no permits for it.
Okay, fine. Well, that answers that question. I don't really need to pursue that any further. But I believe that the artist that created this, it's a telephone cord, a man holding a telephone, and you use your imagination a little bit, and the cord looks like it spells the word help, H-E-L-P, and that's significant in that, you know, it makes it unique art, and so I just wanted to point that out before we go to before we close the public hearing and go to deliberations. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Madam Mayor, yes. I have a question. Councilman Jim Deere, do you know who the artist is? That,
you know, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Saeed, you might know. I think it's Bensky or Bensky.
Bensky is correct. B-E-N-S-K-Y.
Right? Yeah, and he's very famous in the world of public art. And I mean, I'm using the term, this is just me using remember the term flash mobs in the mall? Okay, or renegade art, you know, kind of underworld art, which is part of America. And so, you know, this is a famous artist that's done this. And I think for the relatively short duration that this building is going to remain up, because the area is going to be redeveloped, you know, in the next couple of years, maybe something like that. I think it's kind of interesting to have something interesting in Carson.
okay, yeah, the reason it's B-E-N-S-K-Y. Is that correct, Madam City Attorney? B-E-N-S-K-Y?
Yes, Councilwoman, that's the spelling of the artist's name.
Okay, yeah, I looked it up, Bensky Productions, it does show similar art. I asked that question because the word graffiti came up. So I asked that to make sure it wasn't coming from a gang or a known gang. So it is an actual Bensky Productions. They are artists, they're graphic designers. So that's it. That's why I asked that question. It's not a gang, not a local gang.
No. You know, if I could
Yes,
make
Council.
an addendum to the Councilwoman Rojas's comments. When you look at this image that's on the screen, that car parked there, the shed, little shed with looks like a double door on it, little shed, the Porter Auction sign painted over, to me, that's less attractive than the actual artwork that spells the word help using a telephone cord and a man floating in the air. So, you know, I love public art, and I'm a big advocate of making Carson an interesting city and a beautiful city. You know, art is in the eye of the beholder. One person looks at a piece of art and says it's ugly. Another person says it's beautiful. You know, this is my opinion that this is an interesting, attractive piece of art that makes a social comment. And I think that's very Americana, so to speak. Thank you.
Saeed, did the planning commission say remove that or leave it up or leave it as a bureau? What did they say?
Planning Commission recommended removal of this one that's on the screen.
And for bureau, you don't have, you can just, the councils can say, leave the mural up. They can overturn that decision, right?
Yeah, we've included findings in the resolution, which is recommendation number 2B, to leave this particular mural up.
Now, what does the city ordinance say about painted on signs? I don't.
As I mentioned in my presentation, the automotive commercial zone does not allow painted on signs.
So in order for that to stay up there, you have to change the city ordinance. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay. Any more questions? Because I keep hearing you say it. I heard you. Well, you did mention that. I'm good. So in order for a sign to stay up, you have to change our city ordinance to allow it.
That's correct. And it
That's
would have
correct.
to go back to Planning Commission.
Okay. To change it, the city ordinance.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Madam Mayor, just a quick question. Is that part of the Carson Municipal Code?
Yes.
Yes, it has to go. It's a city ordinance.
Okay. I think that's section 9138.15 E2A5.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay, so our mural number 2 can just stay up by a vote of council. For mural number 1, it has to be an ordinance change. Is that what I'm hearing?
Either that or the council can just approve the mural with a condition that the FAB logo to be removed.
Madam City Council, City Attorney.
That's correct. The council has discretion to approve the mural, but they would conditionally approve it to say Fab Cars, which is the part that's the painted sign would have to be removed, which is what the Planning Commission did. Planning Commission approved the mural number 1, and then they said just remove the Fab Car logo.
Okay. In order, okay, so the mural around Fab can stay, but this name Fab has to be a city ordinance amendment.
Exactly. If the council was inclined to allow that to stay, the council would have to first amend its city ordinance to allow that
to stay.
Yes.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Can we put the mural number 2, the one with the Fab? I just, when I see it, I don't remember.
That's number
seeing
1.
it.
That's number 1.
Number 1. Okay, yes. Okay, I see. Fab, what is it? I can't see it. Fab, what are the other words under it?
Cars.
Cars.
Fab
Okay.
Cars.
Fab Cars.
Okay, are there any more questions?
Madam Mayor, also the applicant is present.
Okay. We can open the public hearing and let's hear from the applicant. we'll take public testimony. The public hearing is open. Madam City Clerk, you want to open the public hearing?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have two to read, and then there's one in the queue. So I'll admit the person first, if you're okay with that.
That's fine.
Okay. Oh, can you stop sharing Saeed for a minute? I'm so sorry, I can't.
Oh,
find
well, I'm
it.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Caller ending in 1104, you've been added to the live meeting. Are you here for the public hearing? Caller ending in 1104, you've been added to the live meeting for the public hearing. Oh. Okay. They are not saying anything. They're still on mute. So I have two to read, Madam Mayor. Maybe I can get started with that.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my name is Carmen Pons, caller number ending in 1968.
Oh.
Or actually 0783. I apologize, I'm on my work number.
Yeah, no, Carmen, I can actually see your name.
Okay.
You've been in the meeting the whole time. Are you here to speak for the public hearing?
I'm here to speak at the public hearing on behalf of the Fab Murals, yes.
Okay, Madam Mayor, is that okay? We can.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, Carmen, you have.
It's open. Oh,
Yes.
the applicant is not here, so yeah, we can go and do that.
Okay, Carmen, you have 3 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and get you started. If caller 1104 interrupts you, I apologize, but we'll
No
go
problem.
ahead and get you started. Go ahead.
No problem. And I apologize if there's background noise. So basically, and you know, this mural is predominantly art. While you do see what's called the Fab writing with a circle, that is not actually the true sign, meaning nobody would know that that's Fab because the signage is actually Fab, the used car hub. So Fab is actually part of the art, and it's an expression of the art. And while maybe art is, you know, subjective to each one's interpretation, both murals are art. I mean, they're fundamentally art. So the Fab says nothing about used cars or used cars hub, which would be quote unquote the signage part. And in fact, I think there was an issue or a question whether or not that the owner had permission. Both the tenant of the property and the owner, we gave permission for the signage, both signages, both murals. We gave permission for those. There has been no graffiti on it since. There's been no complaints about it since we've had it on the property. In fact, it's always been well received. Everyone has really appreciated the colors and the beauty and the art of it. And in fact, the mural that is the hanging up says help, it is Bandy, it is Bansky, who is actually promoting by his art just awareness, which I think is important. And a lot of people have commented on the beauty of the colors. So we've only received positive, nothing negative. And there's been no complaints and no graffiti on that wall. It hasn't enticed any kind of negativity in the community whatsoever. So that is sort of, you know, my recommendation, and I would encourage the city to approve it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Okay, Madam Mayor, there's no one else in the queue right now, and that caller never spoke out. So I'm going to begin reading our first one here from Donald Mogg. Hope I'm saying that correctly. To the members of the City Council, item 25, the discussion of the removal of the mural that is specified in my item should stay. I drove by the mural to see what its artistic value depicted, and it was more than acceptable for an artistic piece of art. It's an expression of the landowner's appreciation of art, in my opinion. I feel it's very beautiful, flowers, and the word Fab is not offensive. I would like to see this mural stay right where it is until the landowner decides he would like to change it. I feel more art in the city of Carson would depict the cultures that I live here if landowners felt they would like to display their taste for art. Thank you. This is a reason. And as I mentioned before, what we received in writing from Daniel Valdez.
Before it's painted or after?
It's
It's been moved and probably second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Decide as a matter of policy if we want to allow certain expectations of logos when the logos are painted in a beautified way and as art. That's my motion.
And it has to be a city ordinance if it comes back, if we modify it. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, we have to amend our city ordinance.
It would have to be amended, yeah.
Yeah.
Second.
To Councilman Deere.
Right, that's an excellent point, Councilman. And that, of course, would be discussed during the ordinance discussion, not tonight.
So, what are you trying to repeat your motion, Mayor?
Oh, certainly. Let me get my wording here. I move that we table this on the floor.
That's your motion.
You made the motion.
Your motion,
No.
Yes.
My question is there would we maybe not allow that mural because Coca-Cola was written in there? That's just, and I bring that up only because that's an example of how a name of a company, so it could be brought off the table at any time by,
It's
by
a
vote of the
motion.
council. Yes.
Well, we have to address this, so I don't, motion to table.
Well, you control what goes on the agenda for ordinances. So
Is brought back to address a comprehensive overhaul as to whether certain painted signs can be allowed when they're artistic.
Okay.
To make an argument that they should be allowed to keep this mural, and they have made an argument that their words on the mural are, that's what the planning commission.
that's why I let it go. But
Well,
now
that's what
we're
I'm
getting
asking
in,
for,
we're getting into,
clarification.
right, after the clarification is complete, if you start presenting arguments in favor or opposed,
No, I wasn't doing that. But anyway, the item has been tabled until the sign committee council comes back reviewing the orders. That was the motion on the floor.
I stated my motion. The city clerk knows my motion. I stated it twice. And
Yes, there's a motion on the floor. There is no second at this time, Madam Mayor.
MPT said, oh.
Require for the ordinance to be amended.
Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I make a motion to move the previous question.
We're getting ready to vote on it now.
Well, if you go to a vote directly.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Councilman Hicks?
Abstain.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Mayor, the motion carries 3-1-1.
Thank you.
Brief update and report.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This is a presentation for the term sheet submitted by 3M. The term sheet includes major deal points for this spectacular digital billboard and following 4 items. And staff would be entitled or would have the power to extend that 6 months for another 3 months for a total of 9 months.
Yeah, where are those code books?
If the applicant provides substantial evidence that substantial progress has been made in this effort. The major ones. The applicant is responsible to identify and secure a particular sign and obtain written preliminary approval from Caltrans stating that it's feasible to obtain final permits from Caltrans for the spectacular if the entitlements and the locations are approved by the city. Caltrans usually doesn't give final approval of digital billboards until the city approves the specific location and a specific sign. Also, the applicant is required to file applications for a development agreement and a zone change with the city, which would enable the construction, if approved, the construction of the spectacular, and also provide a pro forma for city's review. And the locations of these 15 signs have not been identified, just like the spectacular, and the applicant would need to go through and propose locations to the city. And the street displays are not included in the 6 months plus 3 months extension. The applicant can work on those, but the term sheet doesn't require them. Or MAG is
Madam Mayor?
You're on mute, Madam Mayor.
Hello? Hello? Mr. City Manager, can you hear me?
I was on mute. Okay, Councilman.
Okay, well, that's a very interesting presentation. You know, I've been having to look at this somewhat. Preface my comments by saying that you know, I've had a concern over the years in Carson that a nickname for our city could very well become the city of lost opportunities, because we've had so many opportunities to do good things that generate revenue, generate jobs, make our city more. From what I can see, the name of it is 3M, that's come up with a very good public-private partnership proposal for the city of Carson that will generate over the years millions of dollars in revenue for our city and our residents. So having said that as a preface, I would like to do some proposals, some developments. And the state senator is one of the senators that voted on the budget for Caltrans. And he still was unable to get positive. They never to be a lost opportunity. So having said that, I'm going to make a motion that we approve this agreement. And at the very beginning, if people will follow along with me, please look at the agreement sheet. It's called the term sheet. The first thing I would do in my motion is I would retitle it Network Signage Agreement, so we know what we're talking about. I also, in the very first paragraph that says this agreement term, on the very first page, Madam City Attorney and Saeed, are you following me on this, please? Let me know if you're following me.
Yes.
I know my colleagues are following me on this. So it says this term sheet, and then it has parentheses, then quotation mark, term sheet, close quotation mark, and close parentheses. I would delete everything in that parentheses where it says term sheet and then term sheet again. Delete that, and I would insert the word agreement. So it will read, this agreement contains the basic provisions to be included in a public-private partnership agreement. Keep the parentheses and the quotation mark, P3 agreement, close quotations and close parentheses. And I would say, I would start out and I would say period there at that point. And start a new sentence instead of a comma. And the new sentence would read, and is binding upon agreement, binding upon between 3M Billboards LLC, a California limited liability company, and in parentheses and quotations, 3M for definition, comma, and the city of Carson, California, a California charter city, again, city, and is dated effective as of October, we'd say today's date, October 18th, 2022, the effective date, which will provide the terms and conditions for which 3M will be authorized to build and operate digital sign infrastructure within the city, period. 3M and the city shall be referred to within collectively as, quote, parties, unquote, or any of them individually as, quote, party, unquote. Period.
Yes, I would like to vote on these items that you're proposing the changes, Council, as you go through them instead of waiting to vote on this all in its entirety.
So,
Okay, I'll make that as a motion if I can.
Just a second. Madam City Attorney.
But I need to give a caveat here.
Yes.
This item has been noticed as a term sheet. And so it can't just be converted into an agreement. And so that one change is problematic because the item has not been agendized as an agreement. It's been agendized as a term sheet. And truly, there's no, this is not an agreement. It hasn't been flushed out. It wasn't meant to be an agreement. It's a term sheet to turn into an agreement, into a public-private partnership agreement. So Councilman Deere, if you want to put a time limit on staff and say, I want to make sure staff brings back the P3 within a month, you can do something like that so you can then control so staff doesn't go off and doesn't bring the public-private partnership agreement back. I would recommend you do that instead of trying to make this an agreement when it's been agendized as a term sheet.
Thank you.
I see. Could this, Madam City Attorney, could this be approved as an agreement at a special meeting, or does it have to be approved at a regular scheduled meeting?
If it's going to be, it's not an ordinance, so it could be approved at a special meeting. But if it's going to be handled that way, we would ask for an opportunity to make it a true agreement. This is not an agreement. This is a term sheet.
Well, the reason I bring that up,
critical provisions to protect the city.
okay. The reason I bring that up is it is conceivable that the MOC would refuse to put this on a regular scheduled agenda. And I want to be sure that we can put it on a special meeting. And
Are you asking about a public-private partnership agreement? Absolutely. That can, so if tonight the council approves the term sheet with whatever modifications you have, and you give your staff direction to bring this back within, say, a month, the P3, and the mayor refuses to put it on the agenda, yes, you can have a special meeting to have the public-private partnership agreement approved at a special meeting. It does not need to be an ordinance.
Okay, number one, you're making an assumption, an ASSUMPTION. This item is on the agenda because I placed it there. So I take exception to the fact that you're saying that I'm not putting it on because it has been on. These are little snippets that you give out occasionally. And this item is on the agenda because I approved it, because it's been laying around for some time now.
okay, well, Madam Mayor, to that point, I've asked for other things to be on the agenda. The zoning ordinance for mobile home parks, the ordinance to bring back the agenda ordinance in a more civil and democratic form. You're refusing to put either one of those on the agenda for the last, year and a half.
And I told you, no, I wasn't putting the other one on.
You're saying no.
And I also told you that the charter, the mobile home park was coming with the general plan before. I told you that. But you want to put out these little snippets like, oh, she's denying it when it's already in the charter and was in the charter before you came back on the city council. Albert Robles, myself, and Jawan Hilton made sure that the mobile home park zoning ordinance was in the charter. So it's not up to me. It's a matter of when. And as I discussed before, we didn't want to open it because you wanted it on. Oh, well. Okay?
Okay, well, you're getting
Item
off.
right here was on the agenda because I said so. So don't send out those little snippets that, oh, I'm going to have a special meeting. First of all, you got to get 3 people to have a special meeting. Second of all, it's on there because I got the message from our city manager that it was going on. And when I sit down with him, I said, sure. So I haven't been trying to hold it. I just want to make sure that the city is protected. So don't throw out those little bites and thinking everybody's going to jump on them. You have a way of doing that.
Are you finished?
Go on with your changes you want to make.
Okay, you're very angry, and we understand
I'm
you're
not
angry.
angry.
And you're interrupting me constantly. It's very
well.
unprofessional of you. You're acting very unprofessional.
Like you.
But, you know, you can go off and do that, but it's irrelevant, the things you're saying, because we're
irrelevant.
working on an agenda item right now. And this agenda item is item number 26.
Thank
All
you.
these other things you're saying about snippets, that's your opinion. You can have any opinion you want. It doesn't make it true.
Are you having
okay?
a temper tantrum and a meltdown? Are
I'm
you?
outlining- excuse
Oh,
me, you're
poor
interrupting.
baby.
Well, your sarcasm is quite unbecoming of a mayor. And because you have poor leadership, doesn't mean that we have to listen to your baloney, okay?
Okay,
So
12
we're gonna move
years.
ahead. We're gonna move ahead
12
with item
years you
number
were the mayor of
23.
this city,
I
and you
will
did
make, I will make a
nothing.
motion.
12
that-
years.
I will make a motion now.
You had
that we go
unforeseen,
back to the-
unrealized.
We go back to the
Unrealized.
agenda. We go back to the agenda and discuss only item 23 while we're
Thank
on
you.
item 23.
$125,000 in lost signage. You were the mayor.
Okay.
Interchange of
Okay,
405. You
would
were
you-
the
if you
mayor.
would stop interrupting me and acting so unprofessional and childish, you're the one with the temper tantrum. I'm not. I'm trying to focus on item 23.
Okay,
To
let's
get you to
focus.
focus. You can't do it
I'm
if you don't have
focused. I'm
capability of doing it, but
Well,
try
I'm not
your
on any
best.
beds either.
Try your best. Okay, please. Play on. Okay. So, following your suggestion, I will make a motion that we make the approval of everything outlined so far, and we don't call it network signage agreement, as the city attorney says, it's still term sheet.
Still a term sheet. They're born in favor of those changes that he, yes, Councilman, MPG.
He made those changes, right? Second, just calling it a term sheet.
What were the, I'm so sorry, I only heard the term sheet changes. What were the other changes?
Okay, the first one, Madam City Attorney, you're saying we cannot call it a network signage agreement.
Exactly.
Okay, but I am referring to it as a term, let's friendly amendment.
We can call it a network signage term sheet. I'm okay with that. It's the
Okay.
agreement versus term sheet. So if you would like
Okay,
us to
let's
change
do
it to network signage term sheet, I can do that.
Okay, that'll be part of the amendment.
Okay,
And
what are
in
the rest of the changes though? We stopped on this issue.
I'm about to say that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in the first sentence, I said, use the word agreement. Well, we're gonna now say, network signage term sheet.
Sure.
And then in parentheses, can we put intended agreement? Or planned
we can-
agreement, or something like that?
We can say intended terms for a future PPP. Sure,
Okay, let's add that,
sure.
because I want it clear to the public. Okay, and then, in the second sentence, it starts out, after it says P3 agreement, in the first sentence, I have a period, and then it says, and binding upon, between 3M
Term
Billboard
sheet-
LLC.
Term sheets are not binding by nature. That's the issue. That is why it's not agendized property to be an agreement, because agreements are binding, term sheets are not binding.
Okay.
However, term sheets are meant to set forth the terms that go into a future agreement. So that's why I suggested we say intended terms for the future public-private partnership. And that's why I was saying maybe you give us a time, you give staff a time frame to bring back the PPP.
Okay. All right, well, that's fine. So in
Thank
this
you,
first
Connie.
section, we made the first change, and then where it says one scope of 3M's billboard project, it reads now Carson-Skyline Spectacular sign shall consist of a single unique large format digital outdoor advertising display, in parentheses.
Did we approve the first
spectacular sign.
amendments
Madam
changes?
Mayor, would you please let me
Did we
finish
approve
the
the first?
sentence?
I asked that we approve your first changes before we go.
Okay,
to the
all right, okay.
Second.
Move we approve.
Okay, it's been
Let's
moved and
vote.
properly second to approve the first paragraph, the opening, to read network signage term sheet, and staff
Is
has.
binding upon.
I'm typing the language as the councilman saying
Okay.
it, so I have the language.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly second for that first phase. Thank you.
Aye,
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Motion carries, Madam Mayor, 4-1.
Okay, then next. It reads now, Carson Skyline Spectacular sign shall consist of a single unique large format digital outdoor advertising display. Again, parentheses, spectacular sign, to be located on property mutually selected by 3M. Actually, it says approved by 3M and the city near South Bay Pavilion. The size scale shall be negotiated and included in the 3M agreement. So I would make a motion that we change this term sheet to read, Carson Skyline Spectacular sign shall consist of a single unique large format digital outdoor advertising display, in parentheses and quotation mark, spectacular sign, close quotation, close parentheses, to be located on property mutually selected by 3M and the city near the South Bay Pavilion, period. So I'd like to vote on that.
The size scale shall be negotiated and included in the P3 agreement.
Second.
No, that's not what he's including in there.
So you want to strike the last sentence that the size and the scale to be negotiated in the P3 agreement. You don't want that sentence in there.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's my motion.
I have a substitute motion. Our attorney spent a lot of time on this, so that be included. The size scale shall be negotiated and included in the P3 agreement. That's my substitute motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Now, under discussion of the substitute motion, I would encourage all 5 of us to vote no on the substitute motion so we can go back to the original motion. So I'm voting no on that substitute motion, so we can vote on the main motion.
So what you're basically saying, okay, I'm voting yes on the substitute motion.
Yes on
Go to
the
a vote.
My substitute motion is to include the size scale shall be negotiated and included in the P3 agreement. Other than that, we don't know what we're getting. There's a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
No.
No.
Motion fails.
Councilwoman Rojas didn't vote.
It's a no.
Oh. Okay, so it's 3.
So that's gonna be taken out.
So the substitute
No, you have
motion.
to go to, Madam
Okay,
Mayor,
the
you've
main
got to go to
motion.
the, you have to
Main
go to the
motion.
main motion now.
I said the substitute motion fails. That's
I
what I
know, so therefore you must go to the
I
main
do
motion.
understand that. Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Now
You're
we're gonna vote
welcome.
on the main motion.
Good direction, Jesus.
Don't call on him because he don't know you.
You ought to look in the mirror when you talk about Jesus. Ooh, I mean, you're
My answer for this one is yes.
baloney. Okay, go ahead. Talk about snippets and temper tantrum. I'm trying to accomplish something that's pro-business, pro-residents of the city of Carson, and you're adding all kinds of snippets. So, you know, you can be childish if you want to, but let's go on with the business of the people tonight.
Yes, before you have somebody jumping
Okay.
out the window again.
Excuse me, that's unnecessary, uncalled for. Okay, I will make another motion. The next paragraph reads, network displays / street billboards, parentheses, and quotation marks, network displays, close parentheses, close quotation marks, shall consist of a maximum of 15 billboards and located on a property mutually agreed to by 3M and the city, with final approval of the locations and size scale subject to approval by the city council or by the city manager. Up to 10% of the time on the network displays may be used on a monthly basis by the city to communicate emergency messages, parentheses, and I should say i.e., drunk driver, amber alerts, accidents, etc., adding etc. for emphasis, as well as community announcements for local nonprofit events in the city of Carson. In addition, local merchants within the city with income below 1 million per year will be offered a 50% reduction of standard billboard rates. You know, that's fine, but I want to change the wording. So it will read, again, network displays / street billboards, open parentheses, open quotation marks, network displays, close quotation marks, close parentheses, and then there is a colon. Shall consist of a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 15 two-sided billboards located on public-private CRA property mutually agreed to in good faith by both 3M and the respective council members whose district the sign may be located. The city with final
So what
approval-
you're changing is, I'm familiar with these terms. These are what the developer asked for. So what you're asking is for it to be a minimum of 7 and maximum of 15 instead of up to 15.
Right, because, you know, we want to hold their feet to
Sure.
the fire.
So it's a minimum of 7 and billboards and maximum of 15, but the rest of it you want to keep the same, correct?
Yeah, so I do want to say the city with final approval by the city manager.
You
Period.
want the city manager to decide where 15 billboards in your city are going to be located?
Well, what I don't want is for every single billboard to be a debatable item with snippets, so to speak. Just kidding. Every time they want to do a project, because that will cause undue delay in moving the projects forward. And we have enough delay with Caltrans, but with staff and council members debating this every single time, it doesn't make sense, because this is a public-private partnership. We want them to be successful. The sooner they're successful, the sooner large revenue comes into the city of Carson. And by the way, this can be altered when it comes back in the form of an agreement, right, Madam City Attorney?
It could be, but I mean, it does set the parameters. So every time we want to negotiate with the developer will say, your city council already said that your city manager decides the location of the sign. I don't care. It's a policy decision. The council needs to decide it. But it is important that the council understands this will be the basis of your agreement.
Okay, well, we can change this because it's got to come back as an agreement if we want to add the city council to it. I'm just trying to streamline it so we can have a success.
Jim, I was going to second. I have an amendment. The seven is great, but I have to say no to the city manager. I can't put that pressure on him. I would like it to come to the council, just like anything else we want to come to the council. I'm willing to agree on that, but I don't want to put that much responsibility on. I don't want to put that. It's not responsibility, but it's a burden.
Okay, having listened to you like I do, I will Madam City Attorney, I'll take that out of my motion.
Sure.
And keep
So-
it to
so
word,
that
subject to
paragraph
approval
is-
by the city council.
So your motion is to, let me just recap it so the council can vote on this part. Your motion is that Part A of Section 1, the last sentence that says the size scale shall be negotiated. Well, actually, you already voted on that, and that's stricken out, I believe.
Correct.
But on Part 1B, you want to change it to say that the network display shall consist of a minimum of 7 billboards and a maximum of 15.
Yes.
And the rest of it stays the same.
Well, I did say two-sided billboards located on public-private CRA property mutually agreed to in good faith by both 3M and the respective council
I'm
members.
sorry, located on public or private
Yeah,
property?
public slash or private slash CRA, because CRA property, is that considered public property?
Yes, it is.
So maybe it's redundant to say the
Yes,
CRA
it is.
property. We don't have to say CRA property.
Thank you.
Leave that out. But I do want to have agreed to in good faith by both 3M and and
And the
then
city.
yeah, and the city of Carson.
Okay, so everything else stays the same. Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
and then wait, and then yeah, everything else stays the same. Nah. So that's my motion to make that change.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second, all in favor. Before we go there, I'm probably gonna be voting no on all of this because the subcommittee met with the staff and everyone else and came up with some good plans, what we thought were good, and to dissect this. We have a city attorney that wrote this, to write this term sheet. And, we have, we went through this with, the Goose, all of these people, we gave them guidelines and they met them. So when I hear people saying, Mr. Councilman here, about Caltrans and all these other things, Cam Carson and the Goose came up with these method guidelines. They follow them, and this is a major project that they were required to follow. So I'll have more to say later, but we have a city attorney, and these term sheets were discussed, laid out, and I'm comfortable with what she presented. She's our city attorney. So
Thank you.
all in favor of this signify by saying aye.
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 The city manager's out of it. Okay, I'm not gonna vote on that either.
Okay, next, Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion that under section 2, known as general terms, it reads now, the following must be completed in good faith within 6 months following the effective date of this agreement. Actually, term sheet, I'm sorry. Then I would, and it says, with any extensions can be granted by the city council or by the director of the community development department for up to 3 months if 3M is proceeding in good faith and has made substantial progress in the following. And then it has the following public-private partnership, 3M are agreed to by both parties, 3M and the city of Carson, period. Remember, the developer here has 100% interest in moving forward. We should not be setting up something where it becomes a hindrance. So I would make this change. And I would say it should read, the following must be completed in good faith within 24 months following the effective date of this agreement. Any extensions can be granted by the city council or the director of community development, period. And the following public-private partnership, 3M, are agreed to by both parties, 3M and the city of Carson. And it has bullet points. First bullet point currently reads, 3M must identify and secure a lease for the site for the spectacular sign. I say leave that in. Second bullet point, 3M must obtain written preliminary approval from Caltrans. It says right here, currently it says, stating it is feasible to obtain final permits from Caltrans if the entitlements and location for the spectacular sign are approved by the city. I would say that that bullet point should read, 3M must obtain written preliminary approval from Caltrans where it is necessary to obtain final permits from Caltrans, period. That's my change. Next bullet point.
So where it
Can I
says,
ask a question on that?
Sure.
so I want to make sure. So you leave the first bullet point. For the second bullet point, you're saying, you're adding where a permit is required from Caltrans.
Where it's necessary. When it's
Where a permit is necessary.
necessary to obtain final permits from Caltrans.
Okay.
Now, take out the word feasible, delete feasible, and add and insert necessary.
Sure, that's fine.
All right. Next bullet. Oh, I'm sorry, MPT, through the mayor.
Can we, 24 months is quite some time. I would like to see a shorter window, maybe 9 months with a 6-month extension, simply because, I mean, we want to see some action, and I know it's in the developer's best interest, but can you come off the 24 months maybe to 12 months?
Yeah, would you agree to 18 months then as a compromise?
I would agree to 12 months with a 6 months extension. I would like to see something that's still 18 months, right? And
Yeah, could the city manager give the extension? Because what if they're just about to get an agreement worked out?
Instead of the director of the community development department, you want it to be the city manager.
Or it could be their director of the community development or city manager. Because what if they're at the point where they're just about to get an agreement and the 18 months is up and they need an extension of a month? Well, why don't we let the city manager or community development, or either one of them, allow that extension?
okay, that's fine. I'll take that, but I will want it more. Yeah. Well, okay, that's fine. Either or.
So what are you talking about? 12 months with a 3-month extension? A
12 months and a 6
12
months.
plus 6. Right?
But at milestones at 3 or just 6 out the window?
No, the milestones stay. So Councilman Deere said the milestones stay. The only modification he's making is to milestone number 2, where he's adding a comma at the end of it and saying where a permit is necessary from Caltrans.
I'm looking at the extension. Because MPT said instead of 24 months, he would live with a 12-month, and I can live with a 9-month, but I'll settle for a 12. But 24 months is like, give me a break. But I'll second the amendment, MPT, to a 12-month.
Yeah, I'm just,
Well, I'll take it as a friendly amendment at the same
in order
time.
for Jim to keep moving forward, I'm
Okay.
asking him to do that opposed to the 24 months.
Okay.
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 If we're clear, I'll move to the next bullet point.
Yeah.
It says 3M must file applications. Actually, Saeed will be hiring with contract a financial consultant for review of the pro forma and provide an analysis and recommendation on the profit sharing agreement. Period. That's my motion, and that's what I agreed to.
So you want to take out, I mean, that's what the second paragraph says. It says, however, the city will
Right,
hire
but
a contractor.
deleted, right. I deleted the rest of it's unnecessary.
Okay, sorry, I just want to make sure. However, the city will
Well, what
hire a
about this
contract a financial consultant to review the pro forma and provide an analysis and recommendations on the profit sharing arrangement. And confirm, you want to delete and confirm it is, so you want to delete from and?
Right, of course.
Okay,
Because
and confirm, so you want to delete this part and confirm it if the terms proposed are reasonable or in line with similar billboard projects. I'll delete all of that. But I'm assuming you want to leave the part at the last sentence that says the cost of the financial consultant shall be at the expense of 3M not to exceed $35,000.
Correct.
Okay. And what about this profit sharing, gross profit rather than net profit?
Well, it says, however, the city will hire a consultant with a financial consultant to review the pro forma and provide an analysis and recommendation on the profit sharing. That includes looking at whether it's net profit versus gross profit.
They're going to look at everything, I hope.
Yeah, they will look at everything.
But believe me, they're going to charge us not 25,000. They're going to charge us 35,000 or $34,999
3M.
because that's that they're in business. and they're gonna go look at everything, right, Saeed?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So 3M
Okay,
is
that's
gonna
my
pay
motion.
for this. It should say that the expense of 3M, they're not paying
Yes,
for it?
it is saying that,
Okay.
not to exceed $35,000.
Okay.
Got it.
There's a motion. Is there a motion?
Yes,
there a
that's my
second?
motion.
There was already a second. Arlene seconded.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Well, I kind of like that one, so I may vote on it. I don't like all the rest of, well, okay. Approval,
Yeah, okay, my next motion has to do with section 4, approvals for locations / size / scale signage. Right now, it reads, the city shall be the primary approval body for the spectacular sign and network displays. The location of the signs, the scope, the scope and size, scale of the signage as set forth under the P3 agreement. And then it goes on, next paragraph, minor decisions regarding the exact / specific placement of the poles and supporting infrastructure shall be delegated by the city council to the city manager or his or her, should be in there, his - her designee, close parentheses, as set forth under the PM agreement. Then it goes on to say, so that's all for that section 4. So I would suggest in my motion, I move that it will read, the city council shall be the primary approval body for the spectacular sign and network displays. As to, because it's a grammatical change, as to the location of the signs, comma, the scope and size, though I'm deleting the word and because it's redundant, the scope and size / scale of the signage as set forth under the P3 agreement. And then I'm adding, it shall be consistent with the CEQA study for the 157 acres paid for by 3M. It is understood the spectacular will more than likely be constructed at a minimum of 660 feet from its viewable audience and therefore will require a significant size to accommodate the distance there. Furthermore, the sufficient revenue generation consistent with submitted performance will require the maximum size possible, period. And then,
let's go on.
Sorry, Councilman Deere, can you read the first part again?
yes, I will.
It shall be consistent with what?
Yeah. It shall be consistent with the CEQA study for the 157 acres paid for by 3M. So apparently they already paid for that.
So here's the issue. That was a project specific CEQA study. It looked at the billboards on the Reclamation Authority side. So if, let's say, they want to put a spectacular sign by the South Bay, you cannot rely on the CEQA study that's looked at for different kinds of billboards on a different site. You just can't.
But that's why I'm using shall be consistent with, not the same.
But I don't know what that means. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'll tell you what it
I'm
means.
an attorney. I'm supposed to understand what provisions mean.
Certainly, that's a fair question. The CEQA study for the 157 acre site paid for by 3M was a study that informed the city.
I want to be sorry to interrupt you, Councilman Deere. The CEQA study was not paid for by 3M, by the way. We let's be clear about that. That was over $1 million CEQA study that the developers paid for. There was small study within the CEQA analysis done regarding signage, and that part of it was paid for by 3M. I just want to make
That's the only thing I'm talking about is the signage part.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why it says shall be consistent with the CEQA study for the 157 acres. And at your request, I'll add the aspect of the signage paid for by 3M, or however you want to word it.
Well, maybe Mr. Nase can help here. Mr. Nase, what was studied exactly, and what does it mean that the location has to be consistent with the CEQA study? Because I thought what was looked at was, and maybe I'm wrong, because I wasn't involved in that study.
No, you're
so-
correct. That study was specifically done for specific signs on a specific site, and that study cannot be used for these new signs that we don't even know where they are.
Really?
So each new sign or a group of signs, they have to go through a CEQA analysis. And depending on their location, if they're next to residential or they're not next to residential, they're in industrial areas, you know, they will have different standards that we'll use in order to determine whether they have significant impacts on the surrounding areas.
Okay, Madam City Attorney, so listening to that, I would say this. We've determined that 3M did pay for a small section of the CEQA study. And that small section had to do with signage in relation to the freeway.
No, it had to do with the CRA property and having signs on the CRA property and
The CRA property is right next to the freeway,
Yes.
right?
But there are
Yes, it is.
residential areas and other land uses around it, and the study basically studied the impact of the billboards in terms of light and glare on those surrounding land uses.
Well, that's fine. That's why I'm saying consistent with. If a secret study is required, it's required. We're not saying it's not required. We're saying it's just consistent with. So that we're talking about, we're comparing apples and apples and oranges, not apples and oranges. So that's why I'm saying that we're just putting this in here so it's clear to both parties, all parties and the public, that we want to move forward with this. And that's why I'm putting this wording in here. If you think it's redundant, there's no downside to redundant.
I don't think it's redundant. I think it's unclear and it's going to clear major confusion in the future. I think when you say it shall be consistent with the CEQA study done in connection with the CRA billboards, I don't know what that means. I don't know if a court of law is going to know what that means. Does that mean that the location of the signs we're going to approve has to be the same as the CRA sign?
So let me, those are good questions. Let me explain it to you. I think this will clarify it. Okay, the CEQA study was done. And as Saeed mentioned, it has to do with lighting, glare, location of sensitive receptors, other zoning areas and usage of property. It has to do with all that. That's a secret study.
Yes.
So we're saying that those same considerations will have to be done on all their sites.
Okay, so can I propose a modification that
Sure.
says maybe we say the required state mandated CEQA studies shall be required for each sign, because CEQA might change. That's another concern I have. So if we're saying the CEQA studies shall be consistent with the CRA, the city doesn't decide what the CEQA study is. The legislature does. And CEQA laws are updated from time to time. So I don't want to have a situation where state law changes and then we're told, well, our study has to be consistent with what we did 4 years ago with the CRA signs, because we're not in control of it. It's a state law. So how about we say any CEQA studies shall be consistent with state requirements. So that way it's
that
not
would be
the
fine.
city.
Yeah, that covers it pretty clearly.
I don't think I would say it that way. I mean, I don't think we should be mentioning CEQA at all, because we have to do CEQA. There's no way around it. And so
why would we not mention it if we have to do it?
I would just say the projects shall comply with CEQA, period.
Yeah, that's what I
you just said.
That's what I said.
But okay, just period.
Yeah.
Nothing else
project
after
shall,
that.
I will say project shall comply with CEQA. That's state law. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next sentence is understood that spectacular will more than likely be constructed at a minimum of 660 feet from its viewable audience, and therefore will require a significant size to accommodate the distance, period. Furthermore, comma, sufficient revenue generation consistent with submitted performance will require the maximum size possible. That's kind of like us saying, okay, go for it. It's like us, the city, saying, yes, make a sign that's beautiful, make a sign that's unique, that's iconic, that'll put Carson on the map, that people will find attractive, and will generate the maximum amount of money in revenue to the city.
So parties understand that the spectacular sign has to be of significance.
I mean, these are my words. We can change it. You know, I'm just saying
The spectacular
more likely will
sign,
be constructed at a minimum of 660 feet from its viewable audience.
okay,
We
so
can change the words. I'm not setting concrete.
how about I say,
Though the sign will be set in concrete.
how about I say parties
Lots of it.
understand that the spectacular sign has to be of significant size to generate the maximum revenues.
Right, how's that?
Okay,
If that's
fine.
acceptable legally, I'll agree to
That's
that.
fine, yeah,
Because, you know, I'm taking this from my notes,
okay,
and
I added that.
I did a lot of thinking about it. Okay, that would be fine. And then can we?
Did I hear
Can we vote on
something? I'm
that
sorry,
paragraph?
about 660
So
feet?
under
I don't want to
four-
confuse the matter, so Madam Mayor, let's vote on that paragraph, the city attorney. I
Okay,
agree
let's
with the
read it
city
again.
attorney wording for that.
Okay, city attorney got on the sequel, right?
Yes, and I've changed several things in here. The city council shall be the primary approval body for the spectacular sign and the network displays as to location of the sign, comma, scope and scale of the signage as set forth under the P3 agreement. Projects shall comply with CEQA. Parties understand that the spectacular sign has to be of significant size to maximize revenues. And then the second paragraph, Councilman Deere rightly so pointed out that we should say or his or her designees.
Oh, his or her, yes. Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So, Madam City Attorney, so the second paragraph did read minor decisions, is the clarification there, regarding the exact / specific placement of poles and supporting infrastructure shall be delegated by the city council to the city manager or his or her designee.
Yes, I made that change.
Okay, good, as shall be set forth herein. Okay, period. Okay, now,
As
next one
shall
is
set forth herein or under the P3 agreement.
herein. That was my motion.
Which one are we on now?
Well, now, the next motion is going to be on section 5.
Did the
CEQA,
council vote on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
section 5, CEQA compliance. It currently reads, the 3M agreement shall provide for terms and conditions regarding CEQA compliance with respect to the location, comma, size, comma, orientation, comma, and number of such signs, period. In the event that the CEQA / environmental review reveals a detrimental environmental impact that cannot be reasonably mitigated in the sole discretion and judgment of the city, then the city shall have no further obligation to issue permits and allow the construction of the spectacular sign / network displays involved in such an environmental review. So this is problematic because we're trying to get them to agree to CEQA compliance. But we're saying that even if CEQA agreed to it and gave a CEQA, approval, we still are saying that we could say, we don't like the CEQA approval. And we're saying in the sole discretion and judgment of the city, that kind of like says, okay, go ahead, spend your money, get the CEQA approval, but we can cancel the whole agreement right now because we don't
So
like.
let me
CEQA.
propose something.
I want to delete. Let me finish. I want to simply have the exact same paragraph, but delete the words "in the sole discretion and judgment of the city." Just delete that, and it'll say cannot be reasonably mitigated, then the city shall have no further obligation to issue permits and allow the construction of the sign.
Okay, Sonny, why did you have that in there? Could you explain that to me, please? Reason for
You
it.
know, it was so unnecessary. I have no problem taking it out. The reason is because, again, this is a land use issue. A current council cannot bind a future council. A future council on an entitlement and CEQA issue always has sole discretion and judgment to make a decision. So this was not even necessary to put in there. We were just trying to be transparent with the developer. We put it in our settlements. So, but I'll delete it because that's state law. It's not
Just
anything that the city can go around. It's
Okay, then I will make the motion, Madam Mayor, that we agree with the city attorney to delete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words.
The sole discretion of the judgment of the city.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
thank you.
Let's vote on it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Ooh. Everybody say yes? Okay, let's go on to,
Okay, next, now
Simplification.
the remaining is just kind of grammatical stuff. The next paragraph under.
Jim, I thought you were a history teacher, not an English teacher. If it's just
No,
grammatical.
I taught English too.
Okay, if it's just grammatical and you don't have any major changes, let's just vote on it. I think we've spent like the last hour on this. If it's just
Right,
grammatical.
okay, all right then.
Hour and a half.
Let me be.
Councilman Deere, if you send me those grammar changes, I'm happy to incorporate them before the document is finalized. So
I must
email it to
prefer,
me.
for public transparency, that I say it now in public.
what is
So,
that?
under section 6, indemnification, semicolon, insurance. The paragraph that starts out with the words, any lease for. Keep the paragraph exactly the way it is, no changes. Okay, section 7, miscellaneous. Subsection 1. It now says standard terms. I prefer we say reasonable terms. And
Do you
the
have a
par-
problem
the
with that,
second-
Sonny?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, and then in the same thing in the sentence following it, it has the term, the P for the agreement shall contain other standard, and we delete standard and add the word reasonable, city terms and conditions to carry out the general terms above stated. Sonny, if you're okay with that, we'll make a motion that we delete those 2 words and insert reasonable in both cases.
I saw the first standard. Where's the second standard?
In the sentence below that, it says the P3 agreement shall contain the standard city terms and conditions to carry out the general terms above stated, period. And I'm deleting standard and inserting reasonable. Again, to be consistent with the title.
Sure.
And that would be the end of everything, but let's vote on that.
So
Second.
what is the vote on these terms? So everything else has been voted on, all these
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, so let's vote on the last
All
one.
in favor?
Aye.
I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm voting on some, just some cleanup language, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so it's been, so Sonny, is this coming back to us in final form?
No,
How am
No.
I gonna know all these changes?
I was typing up. If any member of the public would like a copy of it, contact me and I will give them a
I'd
copy.
like a copy.
I
Yeah.
definitely want a copy.
I will send everybody a copy.
Thank you. So that
Thank
is,
you, Sunny.
Keep the grammatical errors together too. No, I'm just playing with you. Okay.
Sonny, I had a
Sunny, can you
question.
include the clerk's office so we have a copy here too, Sunny?
yes.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank
That
you.
was, that was my concern. The public, all this we did, the public has no idea. They're just lost in the shuffle. Okay.
I will.
I had a first in my career. I actually did an agreement on the
On
the council floor.
Sonny,
Sonny,
are you okay with the number 2,
what is number 2?
the way it's written?
The one we already voted on, you're talking about?
No, that's the next one.
Okay.
Number 2,
This
binding
material
effect.
shall be fully binding on the parties on any successors. 3M internet shall be not be transferred. Well, I mean, the meaning of binding is completely different here. So I'm glad you're bringing it up. This means that the term, it doesn't mean that the term sheet is binding. It's just saying that if they sell it to their successors, assignees, like it's binding on everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, term sheets by nature, Mr. Nase, are not binding agreements. They're term sheets.
Okay.
Okay, the next item, we finished with
Preach.
26.
Uh,
Yes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes. It's 10 o'clock. What time we have to be out of here?
11.
Okay.
8:30.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
sorry, Councilman Deere, you mentioned something under, I have to go back to this because I didn't hear it again, but it's on, section 2 in the last paragraph. Councilman Deere, you talked about, an agreement, but it wasn't read back. Madam City Attorney, can you just read that one? It was the one where Councilman Deere wanted to, delete something, but we didn't delete it. He actually added. Can you repeat? Can you?
Under section 2, general terms.
Yes, it's the last paragraph where he
did
wanted
addition-
something deleted. But you didn't delete it. You added something, Councilman Deere.
He
And
wanted me to delete the word concurrently. He said 3M shall in good faith diligently work on the network display locations, applications, and approvals from Caltrans, but those do not need to be finalized within he wanted me to change 6 months to 12 months because up above we've changed it to 12 months and I did that, and he wanted me to add an extensions and I added that time frame set forth above as they will be further defined the P3 agreement for its part. He wanted me to add this. For its part, the
Okay.
city shall provide in good faith to Caltrans any public documents requested from the city in connection with the 3M approvals.
okay, there's nothing in there that you talked about 30 days, Councilman Deere? I thought you mentioned that, but I think did we get that deleted out or you changed
Yeah,
it?
we took out the 30-day requirement, I believe.
You did. Okay. I just remember hearing
Is that
that.
right, Sunny? Did we do that?
I typed up as you were saying, and every motion I repeated it, so I don't remember anything about a 30-day anything.
Well, I have to refer to my notes then.
You said it, but then
Maybe the city clerk has it, possibly.
Unfortunately, Councilman Deere, I have what Madam City Attorney has.
I see. Okay, well, Councilwoman Rojas, you're referring to section 2 called general terms, right?
Yes.
Last paragraph.
The last or the one before, the one that says 3M shall.
One 3M shall concurrently.
I said no time frame set forth as above is required. Period.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're not gonna hold them to 30 days. That's ridiculous. It's just no time frames required.
Okay.
Okay, they are gonna
I
move
don't know
forward
what the
because
30
it's in their
days thing
interest.
is.
They're investing money.
Yeah.
It's silly
Okay.
for us to say to our partner, hey, yeah, you can't, you're not able to do it in 30 days, forget it. We're not gonna do that. What
Okay,
type of
let's
city
go to
would
the
do
next
that?
item. Item number 27, consider recording financial status report on the City of Carson project being funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. What do you want to do on this one, Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We want to make it brief, and we're going to allow our senior budget analyst, Mr. Ralston Turner, who's going to provide a brief update in regards to this. So, Mr. Turner, it's all yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. I'd like to share my screen. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Can.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to present the American Rescue Plan Act first quarter report. My goal is to provide an overview of the projects that are being financed by ARPA and to give an opportunity to council to ask questions to our directors of the departments that are overseeing these projects. As council is aware, back last year, Congress and President Biden signed into law a $1.9 trillion economic stimulus package, which was ARPA. Of that $1.9 trillion package, City of Carson was awarded $17.8 million. And back in March this year, Council approved a dynamic spending plan for the ARPA funds that was appropriated to the City of Carson. And just to remind Council and staff that these funds need to be fully expensed by December 31st, 2026. Of the $17.8 million that was allocated to the City of Carson, year to date, $8.9 million has been spent of the ARPA. Of the $8.9 million, $8.1 million was allocated to premium pay, and $764,000 was allocated to refund small businesses that received loans for COVID-19 relief. After that expense of the $8.9 million, we have City of Carson has $8.8 million left, and of the projects listed here that comprise the $8.8 million left, we have the biggest, which is the $3.5 million citywide slurry seal, the $2.1 million Tyler Munis ERP upgrade, the $1 million small business grant program, $758,000 non-capitalized items for community services, $500,000 broadband RFP, $350,000 Wi-Fi at the parks, $330,000 emergency operations center upgrade. Finally, the $183,000 community engagement. The $3.5 million citywide slurry seal project, I'd like to loop in our Assistant City Manager, John Raymond, to go over in detail the scope of this project to Council. Assistant City Manager John Raymond.
Here.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to unmute. This is the slurry seal. The slurry seal is underway. Staff spent most of the summer.
Lies as frequently as you do is known as a liar, and that's what you are. You're a liar. And you don't have a very good control of or understanding of arithmetic, because that ordinance that required 3, which is a majority of the city council, to put something on the agenda, is not what you have. You don't seem to understand that. You have a 4-vote majority required. 4 is very different than 3. 3 is a majority, 4 is a supermajority. So you don't seem to understand that, and that's your lack of understanding, which addresses your lack of leadership. Now, for you to have a little rant like you just did, a little tirade, is quite embarrassing for the people of Carson. And as you smirk and smile and make your funny faces and stick your finger in your mouth, you know, those are childish behaviors. You're very, very childish in your behavior. You probably need to correct that behavior because it doesn't look good for the city. It's really a shame the way you behave and the way you tell lies at the council meeting, trying to take credit for other people's work. We have a balanced budget not because of you. You became the mayor when the economy was changing. So don't take credit for something that's not due you. It is your habit to stick your finger in your mouth. It's your habit to lie. It's your habit to take credit for other people's work. It's nothing but a shame. That's what you're all about. And I know you want to be not the MOC, known as the MOC, but you want to be the QOC, the queen of the city. You cannot be the queen of the city. You wish you were, but you're not going to ever be the queen of Carson. Sorry. Bye-bye. Lou.
Bye-bye, Mr. Recall City Clerk. Mr. Recall that tried to stipend his pension on the backs of the city.
Oh,
That's what
look at
you
your
did.
face right now. Look at your face.
Look at yours.
Look in the mirror.
Okay,
I'm
in that
smiling.
conversation, in that
I'm
conversation.
smiling. I'm smiling.
Next,
You can look
next.
at my name, but look at your face when
Look
you
at
make
your
those comments. It
Okay.
shows, please don't interrupt me. It shows your intent. It shows your psychology. It's sad for the city of Carson
It's
to
sad
have
to
you in the
have
mayor.
you here
It
when
is
we had
sad
employees
because
jumping
you
out of the
take
back
credit for other
window to
people's
jump
work.
out the window.
You lie all the time.
Yeah, well,
You're
this is no
constantly
lie,
telling things
mister.
that are not true.
This is no lie. Daily
It's in your
Breeze,
hand.
you
It says
changed it.
3 persons.
3, yes.
3 is
Your
a majority.
dictator rule.
Excuse
Your
me, friend.
dictator started with
Please
you.
don't interrupt me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The paper you're
it's
holding, the paper you're holding says
10:53.
3.
10:53.
You have
Yes.
4.
You
4 is
started it,
different than
young
3.
man.
Since you don't understand that, that's the
I
fact.
understand it totally.
Thank you very much. Good
I
night.
understand it totally. I want to remind you how it got started in the first place. You started it. Councilman MPT, you have anything to say?
No, I was just gonna say, everybody have a good night. Sorry.
We just said the time, 10:53.
Yeah, it's 10:53 a.m. We've got
God bless you all.
God bless everybody. Councilman Hicks.
Yeah, before we leave, I just want to set the record straight. There's been some talk, I guess, in regards to a 2% that was offered to the city employees for a pay raise. I want that for the record. I, at any given time, never put any type of recommendation for a 2% pay raise for our city employees. And I think it came by way of our administration who made that recommendation. It was part of negotiations. But again, I did not recommend a 2% raise for our city employees. That to me, that was pennies that you're giving to our employees who work so hard for this city. And that would be not something that I would do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nor the mayor.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to say this. I wanted to thank you. They had went over there. I was just trying to get out. I want to just say I'm appreciative to what we did tonight was for our employees. We did it as a unanimous team, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you all. It's always a privilege to work on behalf of working families and labor. It is so important. Our frontline workers are so important to us. Our on-the-ground workers, you guys are the nuts and bolts of the city. We just make policy. So I wanted to tell our unions, ASME, SEIU, our non-represented employees, everybody tonight. We appreciate you, and we hope that we've shown our good partnership all across the board. So it's always a pleasure to represent and work on the side of labor. Thank you for the reminder, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Before we leave,
you, Councilwoman. You have
Yes.
one quick announcement. I have to make this.
Thank you.
Most of the employees in the city, as well as the mayor, know my youngest child was born 2 pounds 2 ounces. She'll be turning 21 next week, and people are surprised that she will be 21 from 2 pounds 2 ounces to now graduating from college next year.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Councilman Hicks. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Speaking of the unions, thank you. You said everything I wanted to say, Mayor Pro Tem Hilton. A reminder regarding union labor, hardworking farm workers. This weekend, Saturday, October 22nd, is Larry Itliong Day at Veterans Park, 9 a.m. to 12. So let's please all be there and represent a Larry Itliong Day to conclude our Phil Lam History Month. I mean, even though it doesn't end there, it should be every day for all of us and everyone in our communities. So Larry Itliong Day, October 22nd, 9 a.m. And then at night, Larry Itliong Leadership Awards dinner from 6 to 12. No, I think it's earlier than that. 6 in the evening to,
11.
hold on, 11 p.m. Thank you very much, and hope to see you all there. It's a formal Barong Tagalog. I know many of you have it. I know the MOC has some nice gowns, so it'd be nice to see everyone there. So thank you.
I'll be there.
Yes, just a friendly reminder, the Women's Conference, Health Conference,
Yes.
the Business Expo is this Friday. We are sold out and still taking orders. We had 500 people, ladies in pink, that's gonna be in attendance. And council, you're being presented, you need to find out from, I think it's at 12:45. So if you're planning on attending, being there for lunch, please let Ginger know. Lunch will start promptly at 12 o'clock with introductions. But we have about 19 medical doctors from Cedars-Sinai, UCLA, and it's just going to be a good event. I didn't think we were going to get to 500, but that's 500. We have about 400 paid, and the rest are our sponsors that are coming
Yes.
out. So
And thank you, Madam Mayor. Is Dr. Abrams will be there?
Yes.
Okay, great, because we still have his proclamation.
Oh, Jared P. Abram, yeah, he'll be there. He's a panelist.
Okay.
He'll be there at 9 o'clock.
You
Okay.
can present it then, yeah.
We'll get that to him. He had it, but we framed it for him. So great time to present it.
Yeah, he'll be at 9
Again.
o'clock. He probably won't stay, so he'll the panel start.
We'll get it to him then.
Okay.
All
Panel's
right.
introductions at 8. So if you want to see him 8 o'clock, he'll be there about 7:30.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Carson, and thank you, Carson, for electing me your mayor of the city of Carson. I appreciate you very much. One monkey don't stop a show. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.